Welcome back to another episode of The Movie Chest, where the four of your humble hosts take on the task of tackling that never-ending watch list. This week, per the ritual, we pulled 50 movies and narrowed those down to just 4. That was no easy task, but that's why we do it, so you don't have to. This week was extremely good, the best week of movies thus far, and we're only just getting started. The 4 movies we chose this week were Trainspotting, written by John Hodge, based on the novel by Irving Welsh and directed by Danny Boyle. Being John Malkovich, written by Charlie Kaufman and directed by Spike Jonze. Twister, written by Michael Crichton and Anne-Marie Martin and directed by Jean Debont. And the favorite of the week, The Apartment, written by Billy Wilder and I.A.L. Diamond and directed by Billy Wilder. Now sit back and enjoy another episode of The Movie Chest.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Movie Chest. We did it. We're back. Third episode.
Yes, sir.
And for me personally, I think these are some of the best movies we've watched yet for The Movie Chest. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, we got nowhere to go but up from this point.
Exactly.
I mean, shit, the last episode was the best movies we watched.
Right. Every week, it just keeps getting better and better, you know?
Yeah.
Watch next time, it'll be stinkers.
Yeah, there are some like grenades in here, like
Yeah.
The Last Airbender and The Room and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So eventually I feel like we got to just get those out of the way
Right.
too, but
Just muscle through.
yeah.
Inevitable.
Yeah. Can't all be good, right?
Right.
Yeah, which one you guys want to start with?
Well, first off, I'm hoping that eventually we pick a movie that we like disagree on at some point because I kind of want to like butt heads a little.
Oh, I
Right.
get you.
Right.
I mean, we've been on sort of the same track. I think the closest we've come is you guys all liked Black Widow, but I didn't really.
Right.
At the same time, it was like I liked it enough to where I agreed with.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get
So
you.
that's what I'm looking forward to, picking a movie that we can have some disagreement points
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So.
It's hard for the movie chest because all the movies that we want to pick are just so good usually.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because you know that they're like good movies and you want
Yeah.
and you need to see
Mhm.
them.
Something
That's
we're
true.
like looking forward to watching.
Yeah.
I guess the closest we'll come is the recent reels. They'll
Probably.
be
Yeah.
the ones that
That
we're gonna
might-
butt
that-
heads
yeah.
the most.
Yeah.
It's our last episode because we're just like, oh god, I can't do this anymore. I'm kidding.
You guys want to start with Trainspotting or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
So I chose Trainspotting. This was a movie that's been on my list ever since I was a wee lad, and my older brother was like, "If you want to be in the movies, you got to watch Trainspotting." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." I didn't really know what I was in for. I knew it was like a grungy, drug-fueled trip. Directed by Danny Boyle, written by John Hodge, and it's actually based on a book by Irving Welsh. And so I'm assuming that book is just nuts too, because this entire movie was just a trip, dude. It was like a
Yeah.
crazy
Mhm.
ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew what type of movie it was gonna be as soon as he dove into the toilet for those suppositories.
That set the tone for sure.
yeah.
man.
The filthiest
God.
bathroom in Scotland, and my God, it was.
Oh.
That was disgusting.
He walked into that bathroom. I could smell that bathroom. You know what I mean? Like I could.
I was with him.
It was
Yeah.
like almost unbelievable how disgusting
Yeah.
that
Right?
was.
The thing about what made that scene that was one of my favorite scenes because that's the lengths an addict would go to.
Right.
Oh right, yeah.
Totally
Definitely.
believable.
Shit, right?
Oh yeah.
Like diving into the toilet, like even
Coming
going
down
that far, I can see it.
To get your
Mhm.
last fix.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe it. And that's what kicked it into gear for me was when
Mhm.
that happened. I was like,
Mhm.
Oh
damn.
yeah. You're like you're in for a ride
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That scene and there's a few other instances of it, but they do a lot of cool like visual trickery
Right.
in this
Yeah.
movie sometimes too, just to like get the metaphor of what the scene is trying to say across.
Right.
So I'm like swimming through the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought there's a lot of cool stuff like that elevated this movie past just a normal debut movie. Because personally, this did feel like a debut movie for Danny Boyle. I think he did one before this, but this is like his breakout movie.
I can see that.
Yeah, and it just felt like more of an auteur trying his first
Yeah.
take on a story. Not in a
Right.
bad way at all, because I think it was very successful in
Right.
that. But it's just like his contained story with characters that he might have known in his childhood or type of,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good take on that too.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like everyone tangles with vices,
Mhm.
and it seems like if he was kind of one of the minds behind it, that he probably was involved one way or another with people.
I was wondering,
Like
like, has
this, you
Danny
know?
Boyle done heroin?
Right. I mean, he might have had friends, you know,
Right.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it seemed like it was coming from a real place, because the way Ewan McGregor's character is like, he wants to get out.
Yeah.
He's using what's his name? I forget the character's name. Sick Boy.
Sick boy.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he's like using sick boy's tried and true method to get clean.
Yeah.
And then, you know, one way or another, they kind of drag him back into
Yeah.
the
And
scene.
just
or
go
whatever.
back.
It was
Yeah.
interesting when he first, like the first time he got clean, and Tommy takes him out after he gets the breakup happens,
Yeah.
and they're on the walk, and Ewan McGregor has that rage fit where he's like, you know, life sucks without being high, essentially. So
Right.
it was like, again, that was how I feel addicts feel. You know, they get
Mhm.
off the drugs and they're realizing that was the best time of my life.
Yeah.
I
Right.
gotta get back on it. So it's gotta
Right.
be so hard for, you know, an addict in that mindset to
Yeah.
to stay off the drugs.
Yeah.
But it's also
Break
the
that
people you
mentality.
involve yourself with, I think,
Mhm.
because it shows later in the movie when he leaves that setting,
Mm-hmm.
he realizes, oh, this isn't so bad. And
It's
then when they
something I
come
can
back,
do.
he realizes these people suck.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I don't think he thought they sucked, but, you know, he
No.
realized, like, his friends are, like,
They were kind of
part of the problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuck in
Enabling.
this rut
Right.
that
Yeah.
like he was
Right.
stuck in.
Right.
with-
Or like they were just friends because they had this like shared experience
Right.
almost.
Yep.
Well, not
Totally.
all of them, I guess, but they're in that same
It's
toxic.
almost like
Yeah.
they were only friends
environment.
because of the
Right.
heroin.
Right.
They would
Mhm.
meet at, I forget the guy's, the dealer's name.
Yeah.
That would just shoot them all
Oh,
up.
You guys want some garlic bread to warm you up?
Yeah,
You want some?
want some appetizers?
yeah.
I thought it was also cool how every time, I don't know if it was every time, but most of the times when they were shooting up, you'd see the baby crawl on the screen.
Mhm.
And, like,
Yeah.
you
Right.
just knew
Something was
one
gonna
point,
happen.
this is going to be a point of
Yeah.
like contention for
Yeah.
Right.
you know, something that's something's gonna
Yeah,
happen,
man.
and it's gonna be
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah, without a doubt, there was like definitely some parts in this movie that are like hard to watch.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
and like would
It's
definitely
dark.
be off-putting for some viewers.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and it's dark, but I also appreciated the kind of like dark humor that it
Right.
Mhm.
you know tried to string along with it.
Yeah.
I think.
I really liked the tone it set with the dark moments as like, wow, it's as dark as fuck, and the characters know it is,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but immediately they just kind of move on and get to the next like drug binge. You know, like
Right.
they're all like really selfish and really involved
Right.
with their
Yeah.
own drug
Yeah.
habits that like they'll be able to get over that really quickly,
Right.
but we as
Right.
audience are like, wow, that should be
Yeah.
a turning point in your life. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like the drugs what suppressed it, because when he was coming back off of it, you know, the baby crawling across the ceiling. So it's like
Right.
that's always in the back of their mind.
like comes
Right.
back.
Yeah.
So it's just these things. It's just a bunch of cause and effect
Yeah.
of, you know, their actions that they have, the effects that those actions have, and you
Mhm.
know what it can really do to them. So I
Right.
thought, you know, it's
Yeah.
just it's just a really good look at being an addict.
Mhm.
I mean,
What got me was like when he, what's his name? Rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Rent.
he stole that his friend's sex tape,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then that kind of was like the catalyst of his life,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of just spiraling down.
Right.
Dude, Tommy that's like such a tragic
Oh,
story
right.
in
Yeah.
this movie, dude.
Oh, he
The-
was like
out of all of
clean
them,
and like
he
Yeah.
gets
oh,
AIDS, and then you know,
He
eventually,
just-
Just
out
yeah.
of all of them that are in there, probably sharing needles, he's the one.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
gets,
Like the least deserving of
Right.
his
Mhm.
fate
The
out of
one
those
time.
four guys.
in like Rent, you can tell, you know, oh, I'm not gonna, I don't want to drag you down into this, but he's like, I got money, and of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
an addict is like, well, if you're gonna shoot up, I'm gonna shoot up.
Yeah,
So
Right.
if you
right.
got the money, let's
Yeah.
do it.
And Tommy was like, I'm adult. I can make this decision for myself. And
Right.
he's like, at that point, he's like, you're right.
right.
But and that's just so sad because that story has to be real. You know, like
Right.
nobody starts doing heroin. They decide one day, it's like, you know what, I'll try it.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
Mhm.
obviously it can spiral you down like that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, there's that moment too where Rent is kind of like it's after he's clean, basically after he ODs, and which I really liked that whole when he like sinks down into the red
the
carpet,
carpet.
Yeah.
when he's ODing. That's like you're seeing he's like
Yeah.
in the background of himself, like,
Right.
watching.
Just
Like,
watching.
that, I thought that was a really cool perspective of it.
Mhm.
But like when he comes back and sees Tommy like laying, like sees his apartment, he's like laying on this raggedy mattress,
Mhm.
and he's like, you know, if you got money for food, you got money. He's like, I'll give you some money, and he's like, yeah, I'll definitely get around to getting. And like, there's like the silent understanding as soon as like he gives him this money, like what it's for.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
And talk about falling off hard. Like Tommy, out of all of them, fell off the hardest.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the hole that he was living in,
Right.
compared to like everyone else. It seemed they all shut up at that place.
Mhm.
Right.
Him, that was his lifestyle after he did
Right.
it. You know?
Yeah,
So
he's
it
like on his
just-
own, kind of.
That
Mhm.
that storyline was just kind of brutal to watch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Because he was the straight and narrow.
Right.
Yeah.
That was just
Yeah, you definitely like feel for pretty much all the characters. Other kind of for Sick Boy, less so for Sick Boy,
Mhm.
and like hardly any for
Bagby.
Bagby.
Franco. Yeah, like yeah, that guy's
That
just
guy
kind of
was
an
a douche.
asshole.
He
Yeah.
had his own addiction. That was like I don't even rage.
Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like yeah, the feeling he got of just like
Yeah, like
playing
that
up.
adrenaline.
Right.
Yeah, playing up in a crowd, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah. Every time he pulls out his knife, I'm like, oh shit.
yeah.
Oh, come on.
Here we go.
Yeah, he's definitely the wild card character. You never know
Right.
what's gonna happen with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like as soon as like you're saying, when he moves out, is kind of clean, like living a different life in the city, like getting to actually like his job,
Right.
and then instead of like falling back into the hole, like going back home and falling into that hole, his home, all his friends
Right.
kind of come to
Follows
him,
Yeah.
and they kind of follow. Yeah, and
He
it's
was
like
kind of like that glue that held them all
right,
together.
and now he's like over it.
Yeah.
So, and that sparks the last deal to end, you know, the skag
Right.
deal to end all skag deals,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm.
Following that line of, they have the dark moments, but they also throw a little bit of that comedy in there. I thought it was clever how Spud, he's talking about how he wants to have sex. It's been 6 weeks and she still won't let me have sex. And then finally, when she wants to have sex with him, he shits the bed, literally
Yeah.
and figuratively. I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
he literally shits the bed, and
Yeah.
I just thought that was a
That
good
is
way
funny.
to.
Dude,
Dude, I just don't know
that-
why he brought the sheets in the kitchen.
That, I mean, that scene
Yeah,
is
really.
probably the most disgusting in the movie.
It's just like
honestly.
you like can't believe it happened.
Yeah.
But you're just like, this shouldn't have happened.
Nobody in that
Yeah.
scene could believe it
Yeah.
happened. Like, what just happened?
Dude, that was so much shit too.
It was.
It
Yeah.
went everywhere.
I felt like I was in that room because I was
Right.
like wiping my face. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, you felt dirty after that scene. You're like,
You
oh.
couldn't help but cringe. You're just like,
Yeah, you're like, oh god.
why do you bring the shit sheet out?
For breakfast, man. No.
Oh.
Oh man.
No,
Yeah.
I think, and I'm glad Spud got a little treat
Yeah.
at the
Yeah,
end because he
just
was
one-
also kind of like the more, I guess not innocent, but like he's just,
You never hurt anyone.
yeah, he never
Yeah.
really did. He took the fall, like had to do his time in
Yeah.
prison,
Yeah.
like so like it's good to see there's a little justice
Right.
for him.
Yeah.
It was definitely not what the whole movie wasn't what I was expecting at all.
Mhm.
I
Me
mean,
neither.
I knew about Trainspotting. I read what it was about, but I've never watched like trailers because I don't watch trailers of older movies. I don't
Same.
know. They just
Yeah.
the old trailers really are bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty true.
But
I would argue some of the trailers nowadays are pretty bad too.
oh yeah, no.
You're
I'm
watching
starting
the
to
movie
Not
and
watch
everything.
trailers anymore.
Yeah.
Because either they're bad or they just give the whole movie
Yeah.
away.
Oh, I've seen the
Yeah.
whole movie now.
Yeah,
Cool.
right. But I didn't know what I was expecting, and I was not expecting that after
Right.
reading the
Mhm.
synopsis. I thought it was going to be, the classic drug-ish related
Mhm.
movie,
Yeah.
But this was the day in the life. And
Right.
It was definitely a wild ride. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's definitely a ride you're taking,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, I guess like I just really think it like hit. Obviously, we've said it before. Like the addiction. That's what this whole movie's about. But with Ewan McGregor's character, I thought he killed it in this movie. He
Yeah.
committed 100% to this
Yep.
role. I
Yeah.
thought. And just like when he says he's wanting to quit at the beginning, it's like very smart for someone who's like dealt with addiction. Like you can tell he's saying what he wants to
Yeah.
quit,
But
but
he's
in
not
the
like,
back of his mind, he knows he's not actually
Yeah.
gonna
he's
quit.
not really convinced himself that he's gonna be done.
Yeah.
Right.
And the journey of his character, obviously, you can like latch onto.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I kind of felt the same thing with the second time he relapsed when he's the guy who has to try the heroin.
Oh my God, that
Yeah.
pissed me
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, it's like you always can justify taking another hit somehow.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah. Yeah, there's that little line on the bus when like they're on their way to the deal, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I was gonna take one final hit, but what kind of hit would this be? Because there are
Right.
final hits and there are final hits, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's just like
Yeah.
something they probably think all the time. Like,
Yeah.
And that scene made me angry because I was happy that he was finally on the straight and narrow,
Right.
and then none of his friends come here, suck him back into this whole situation, and he's the one who has to try the heroin.
Right.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
one of you two fuckers, just get down there and do it.
yeah.
And it was right after their friend literally died.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Then-
that
Weren't they like, we just buried our friend and
Yeah.
we're talking about this drug deal?
that
Right.
scene's like, yeah. You're just
It's
like,
oh.
I love the way that scene was lit because like you see the shadows and you just like know
Mhm.
like they're in this room they shouldn't be in talking about something they shouldn't
Right.
be talking
Yeah.
about.
A lot of the scenes were in the daytime too, in the building.
Yeah.
And I think that one was at night. Just kind of gave
Was
it a
it?
nice
Yeah.
like contrast to
Yeah.
the darkness that they're now in. Finally,
Right.
you know?
And I thought it was threading the line with comedy and everything was when the guy's telling Rent how Tommy died, and then he
Mhm.
ends it with, "But the cat survived."
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, that was not. It was just a dark enough emotional scene, and then you just sprinkled a little bit of that lighthearted comedy. I don't
Yeah.
even know if it was lighthearted, but I mean, we were all wondering.
Right.
The cat
Right.
make it?
Is the
I
cat
mean-
okay?
And it just shows the tiny little kitten.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Meowing.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just little points like that shows you like the humanity too, I think, and like and just what people go through, and like when
Right.
people are sitting in a funeral, like they don't want to think about what they're there for, kind of,
Yeah.
but like they kind of have to. And, yeah, I don't know.
But you also have to move on.
Right.
Like you can, I don't know. And especially when you just don't care and you're just looking for the next score or whatever, you can
Yeah.
move on pretty quick.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Right.
I thought, I just did a good job of displaying the mindset of an addict in that moment.
Yeah, I was like so hoping when they like finish the deal and everything, go back to the bar, have a few drinks. I was like so hoping him and Spud would like take off with that bag.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah,
Right.
I was like they're gonna, and then they come back and Sick Boy is like, well, I would have,
They
and
just
then
missed their chance.
right,
Yeah.
and it was like a chance they both could have had.
Such a good tense moment.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
you're thinking the entire time, like when he's at the bar and he's beating up those guys,
Right.
ready to. You're just looking behind him to see is Rent taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just like he he was thinking about, oh shit,
Right.
if I don't
Right.
leave now, or
Yeah.
I guess later,
Yeah.
like it's never gonna
Well, no,
end.
like
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
never
like
getting out.
after
Yeah.
he makes that scene, it's like that would have been, I think, for Rent the time, like like he should have taken his chance.
Mhm.
Like he's the next
Right.
chance he gets, he's gonna
Right.
take it. Then he gets that chance. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
I love that scene so much.
It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I thought the ending was really good to this movie.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, one, have you guys noticed that we're watching a lot of movies with narration?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wrote that now. I was like, Jesus,
Mhm.
like maybe I just didn't notice that in many movies, but I just wonder how many movies have narration. 'cause-
Yeah,
They're
right.
doing it right because it adds to the movie.
Yeah,
Right.
this one was
Instead of-
really well done.
Yeah.
Especially because at the beginning he's saying like, get a family, get a job, do this,
Yeah.
blah blah.
Yeah.
He's not gonna,
Circles back
clearly
to
not
that.
going to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the movie, he's like, I understand. Like, get a job, get a movie. You know, like
Yeah.
he's like,
Life.
he comes around to those ideas that he completely wrote off at the beginning. You
Mhm.
know.
I'm gonna be like you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is a Train Spotting too.
Right.
So
Yes.
what shenanigans do they get up to now? Like,
Yeah, I was like wondering too with how they left the characters.
Mhm.
If he ever
Yeah.
showed his face around Begbie again.
Begbie.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the second one he goes back.
They
Yeah.
all got to
Right.
get together
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
but
I think that's
I would
like the
assume it's
premise
a
is-
vengeance tear.
yeah,
to
there's
like
got to be some
get their money
revenge.
back or something. Or
I think it's based on another book the guy
Is it?
wrote,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
like a sequel, I guess.
It's like
Okay.
20 years later, isn't it? Or
I
something
think
Yeah.
so.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have like another one that's, I don't know if they're planning it, but Robert Carlyle said that he would do one that's focused on his character,
Hmm.
which I'm like,
Hmm.
because I love him. But yeah, based on
Yeah.
another book, I guess. But
I mean, you could probably make a movie about his character, honestly.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
he could
Go
he could
into-
carry it.
delve
Yeah,
into
he
the
Dark.
darkness of alcoholism.
Yeah.
Because I guess he didn't really shoot up in the
Yeah.
movies, but
Yeah.
he's
I
like
think, I think I read like just a little thing on IMDb or whatever that Robert Carlyle said that in his mind as an actor, he like said that Begbie was gay or like
Yeah,
secretly
That's
gay,
what I read
Mm.
too.
and like
Oh.
that's why he's lashing. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's
I
you
can
know,
see that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he's got too much macho energy that
Right.
he can't just show his like other calm
Yeah.
side of it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
Didn't the author
compensating
like
for
say
something.
that's how he
Right.
wrote the character in mind?
Oh, really?
Too,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
like a
maybe.
closeted gay who's
Oh my
got that pent up rage.
Yeah.
He'd
Makes
do
sense.
it well too. I just
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, I mean, when he like tosses that glass behind him
Yep.
and then just walks down to join the
Yeah.
fight,
Yeah.
essentially, like.
He was like, we're gonna find out who did this.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I thought it was interesting too. I also read on IMDb, as I usually do after I watch movies, is I go and read the trivia
Mhm.
because.
Movie
Should
facts.
start doing
Right.
that. Yeah.
So I would go read the trivia, and I guess the first 20 minutes they lightened up on their accents
Oh yeah.
to make it more
Oh,
appealing or
Right.
listenable for us Americans.
Palatable.
I had to put the subtitles on. I
That's
can't.
funny because me and Noah watched together, and
As soon
I
as
was
he started
at
narrating.
literally 2 minutes in, I was like, okay, we gotta get
That-
subtitles on.
Yeah.
Same.
Like,
I got 2 minutes in. Or it was like 2 or 3 minutes in. I
Yeah.
was like, I can't do this. I tried, but
Yeah.
I needed to turn the subtitles on.
for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, because they're using slang too that
Right.
you're just not familiar with,
Yeah.
like half the time.
And
They're-
Scottish accents are almost always like, I'm
They're
like,
so
what?
Yeah.
like slurred and
Very
All
thick
the
and-
accents, I guess.
Yeah.
Unforgiving because
Mhm.
I love the scene too where they're on a hike or whatever,
Yep.
Mhm.
and then half of them don't even want to fucking go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
the
then
great outdoors.
yeah, but the way is it Sick Boy? I can't remember who breaks it down, but he's like talking about Scottish people and how
Yeah.
they're just like the
We couldn't
worst
even get
people.
colonized by a good
Yeah,
fucking
right.
race of people.
Yeah, there was a lot of like good little chunks of dialogue in
Yeah.
this
Right.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, not being high makes Scotland even worse. What can make Scotland better? Let's get high.
Yeah.
What makes Scotland better? Because fuck Scotland.
Yeah.
So I like that speech a lot. That was it Ewan that gave that speech?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
Might be Sick Boy actually. Well,
It was one of those. It was one of them.
I thought
can't
Rent was
remember.
the one raging. I know somebody kicked it off.
It might have been Renton. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that scene.
Yeah. I just have like a weird note. Did I think I saw like a homage to an Abbey Road shot too? When they're just like doing the drug deal and they're all walking in a line.
I
It's
didn't
like
even-
just a fucked up Abbey Road.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know. There's
Yeah,
like, that's
yeah.
like kind of goes with the dark humor of this movie
Right.
with Danny Boyle. Obviously, he made that decision, I would assume.
Right.
It's like he's paying homage to that, but in its own super fucked up way.
Yeah.
It's darkly
Yeah.
funny way. Yeah. I could see that now that you mention it. I didn't even realize that, but now
Yeah,
that
me
I'm
neither.
picturing it, I'm like, oh yeah.
just goes over my head sometimes. Like, oh, yeah.
So at the end of this, do you think he's really going to change, or is this like another time where he's like, yeah, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it.
The thing about that is off drugs and onto the American dream, money,
Mhm.
you know, things
Right.
like that. But is that always a good thing? You know,
Right.
should you let that be the whole? Oh, now I have money, I can change my life. But really,
Mhm.
can you? Because you probably would have had money here, and you would have, shot it all up.
Right.
Yeah.
Blown it.
So
Yeah. That's what I wonder too. Is like
it's kind of tough.
if there are
Yeah.
sequels, like we might have just what we've seen in the first one is just a part in his life where he made a change, and then we might, and throughout this he, reverted back many
Right.
times. So
Yeah.
it's like he could just revert.
Could
It's,
always revert
it's so
back.
volatile. Yeah. Like
right.
Yeah.
At any
And-
moment.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I wonder too about Trainspotting too, if any of them quit, if any like his
Right.
friends, how are they still hooked on it, or
Right. If
They
sick,
have to,
sick
is-
boy's still trying to make deals. Or,
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, but
Right.
they have to. It's 20 years later. You can't keep that lifestyle up for
They-
20
they'll be
years.
dead by
I mean, they
then.
gotta
Yeah.
shit sometime.
Gosh.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But
I guess
yeah,
it also comes down to like if he ever finds like a good support system. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Right.
Because he was surrounded by all these people just doing
Enablers.
drugs,
right.
fighting people,
Find himself.
pulling out their knives
Yeah.
24/7.
Right.
So
Find himself a nice lady
yeah,
to settle him
underage
down.
lady.
Not a
Yeah,
teenage
a
girl.
lady of age,
Oh my
please.
God. Were you just like, are you guys her roommates
Yeah.
or flatmates?
Yeah. That's
a
They're
new
like,
one.
Oh, that's funny.
Trying to hold her hand on her way to school.
Oh,
God, this makes you so uncomfortable.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And then from that scene on to the shit scene. So
Right.
oh
one right after the other.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's what I didn't like take notes on this movie because I was just along for the ride the whole
Mhm.
time. I was just
Yeah.
like, wow.
For me, this movie and all the other 3 movies we watched this week, I was like, they're all like a ride. I don't know if like it
Yeah.
was just me. Like I was
No, yeah.
just
Yeah.
really enamored with a lot of these movies and how they. I like you said, I didn't write a lot of notes either,
Yeah.
just because I was in it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
In different
Kinda
ways.
had to
Yeah.
be. I mean, especially
Yeah.
with like, the next. I don't know if it's our next one, but one of the ones we talk about, John Malkovich, being John Malkovich. That one you had to be. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
that one's like.
Yeah.
But anyway,
You guys want to move on to that one then? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I think that being John Malkovich, that was my pick, written by Charlie Kaufman.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And I always know because obviously Internal Sunshine, and then
Mhm.
fucking I'm thinking about ending things. You're in for a ride and a head scratcher, and you're just it's up for your interpretation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Right.
what I kind of really like about, especially this one. I feel like this is a great, identity crisis. Finding out who you
Mhm.
For
really
sure.
are, and it was an interesting take on how to, find out who you are.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you're everybody wants to be someone else at some
Mhm.
point, and then when
Mhm.
they are, it's like, oh, this is great, but is it really? And then it was a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
made you think, and I know Sarah was watching it with me, and at the end she was like, "That's the weirdest fucking movie I've ever seen."
there is no movie like that movie.
No,
No,
there isn't.
yeah.
I don't
It
think.
isn't.
Mm-mm.
It's definitely
It is so strange,
Its
but
own
it's
thing.
So-
also very good. Like,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh, we forgot Trainspotting. I gave 4 stars, by the way.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I gave it 4.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like I could see the argument for this being like a perfect movie in quotes for what the story it told. But I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't as engaged
Yeah.
overall with it. I see the value of it to be 4 stars, but
Right.
it wasn't like elevated
yeah,
That's about how I
greatly
felt
to me.
with it.
I don't know.
yeah.
Right.
Especially with the other films that we watched.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Comparison.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Anyway.
where were we? Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie like unapologetically, like Charlie Kaufman writing this script Like, I just imagine him, like, not giving a fuck about all conventions of writing. Like, he just decided he was going to take turns no matter where they're going because he's, like, wanted to follow the fun of this story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, like, a lot of the scenes, like, even just random shit with, like, the floor being, like, half the size, 7.5. It's like, it's not explained, and then he goes and watches a weird video that tries to explain it, but that's not explained because like it doesn't make any fucking sense.
And the two people walk out after seeing the video. They're like, fuck this shit.
Yeah. It set a weird, unapologetic tone, and then followed through with that wholesale.
And I don't know who was in charge of hair there, but my God, brush your hair.
Cameron Diaz's hair was
Cameron
crazy.
Diaz
Yeah.
didn't even look like fucking Cameron Diaz. It was, but
They're all looking grungy and dirty.
Yeah.
That's probably the point.
Yeah. I mean, John Cusack alone was just like
A little
that
greasy.
was a perfect character of like he wanted. It fit the puppeteer. Just because you think
Right.
puppeteer, you don't think this dashing man, and then when he tries to, he finds this woman, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm a puppeteer," and she's like, "Check."
Yeah.
Right.
Immediately.
And when he finally gets in John Malkovich's body, it's interesting because obviously he's the puppeteer, but then when she has sex with John Malkovich with Cameron Diaz and then John Cusack, she can't really tell the difference.
Right.
So it's kind of like, is she enjoying it because it's them, like she says, or is it John Malkovich?
I had seen this movie before. Great time. This time, like Maxine's character, one of the most unlikable characters I've seen in any movie, I think.
Yeah.
But I also like question, because I gave this movie 4.5 the first time I watched it, and I kind of I like, for some reason I brought it down to 4 because some things in the script, like, they were unapologetic, but they also didn't give me enough to like transition from scene to scene and understand the motivations in each character from scene to scene, especially with Maxine. I thought she was just all over the place.
I agree with that. Like with the sleeping around thing, like she was so in love with Cameron Diaz's character, but then when she's banging John Malkovich again with John Cusack, then she's like, "Well, sorry, honey, but I'm gonna go do this anyways."
Yeah,
So
I didn't really understand that because like she's totally against Cusack as like a sad sack loser.
Yeah,
But then for some reason she likes Cameron Diaz as a sad sack loser.
yeah, right.
It, like that's the stuff that didn't really line up to me as like and she didn't go down the hole that like she never was interested to go down the hole and experience it. She's immediately latched on to making money off of it.
My thought on that was I think she like felt she knew who she was, so she didn't feel like she needed that experience of
That's true, I guess.
experiencing someone else's life
feel
through their lens.
Because I think when she did find out that John Cusack's character could puppeteer John Malkovich, she like it almost seemed like she saw that as like an opportunity to like
take advantage.
Yeah,
of
right.
Yeah.
Right.
She's a super
Move up.
selfish character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throughout.
Everything was about money, and then that's why I felt like I think she was more in love with the fact that I'm banging John Malkovich rather than
Right.
it being the two characters.
Both
But
of
then
Well, yeah.
it plays off even in at the end when she gets back with Cameron Diaz, and it's just kind of like that was like you said,
So she was into it the whole
It just
time.
felt
Right.
weird because she goes through 8 months of being with John Malkovich,
Yeah.
but then she's like, "It's your baby, so
You're the father.
Yeah. Yeah.
I questioned too, like how did she know it was
Right.
her baby?
Right.
Well, that's what
Exactly.
she has that line of like, do you know the feeling of like making love to one person and having two sets of eyes that are madly in love with you, like on you? I'm just like, it's just weird. I don't know. That struck me as weird.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
there's some like there's obviously a lot of like narcissistic kind of
Right.
thing going on through her there. I don't know, but
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, up for interpretation. Everything. I mean, that's
Right.
what I felt like with all these movies that I've seen so far. It's just a lot to take in, and what you take it in as, and put it out.
Yeah. Have you
Right.
seen,
Yeah.
have you guys all seen Eternal Sunshine? No. Have you
No.
seen Eternal
Yeah,
Sunshine? Okay.
I've seen that.
Yeah. I mean, that one more so than this one is way like metaphorical.
Yeah,
Eternal
absolutely.
Sunshine. They're like jumping through consciousness like they are in the end of this one, where they're going through
Which
Malkovich's
was a
subconscious.
cool
Yeah.
scene.
Great
That
scene.
is cool. Yeah.
And it made me think like that's what inspired him to write Eternal Sunshine the way he did.
Yeah.
Because that sequence was awesome. Like the way it was like cut together and stuff like that, and the way he was hopping through like meaningful moments of life and stuff like that. I think he just wanted to tell another story like that kind of for Eternal Sunshine.
That was my first thought when that scene was happening. I was like, this is Eternal Sunshine right here.
Right,
What's
yeah,
happening right now.
for sure.
Because it just has that same feeling.
Mhm.
And that was my one of my favorite parts of the movie was when they were doing that. And then
That and when Malkovich goes down his own portal.
yeah,
Yeah,
Malkovich.
That's like just the weirdness that you have to be on board for.
Yeah.
Even just like with Flores, whatever the assistant's name, like saying that.
Oh yeah.
I cannot understand a word you are saying.
Sorry
And,
about
like,
my speech impediment.
Yeah, she convinces the boss that he has a speech impediment.
Yeah.
But
Gosh.
I don't know. It's just such a like this movie is written as a comedy
Yeah.
and then it's played as a drama.
Right.
And it just is
Right.
very successful in that
Yeah.
regard.
I think the comedy worked really well, and especially when he goes to the 7.5 floor and he's talking to the boss, and the boss is like playing everything off. When he's like corrects him on his name, he calls security, and then after he does that, he says, sorry about my speech impediment. He's like, I can understand you just fine. He's like, you're so nice.
Yeah. Flattery will get you everywhere. Yeah.
So I thought that was fun
Yeah.
comedy, and then they show the video and the guys saying, "Oh, I'll make a floor just for you and your what do you say your wretched
short-statured
kind."
or-
Yeah, it's just kind of like a backhanded compliment. Like, I'm gonna build you this floor, but your kind is unwelcome. Only on that floor though. So. But yeah, I thought that the comedy played off when it did happen. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Another moment, just like silly, like I could see it in a script as being like, this is hilarious, and I just want to write it. And then it's like played well is like when Cameron Diaz is tied up in the cage, and then it flashes to the monkeys flashback, and how he knows how to untie knots because he like had to untie his dad and brother or whatever.
That was his redemption arc.
Yeah,
it totally is. Yeah.
It's like you had to like give the monkey a moment too
Right.
and do it justice. But
That was awesome, and they got the subtitles and everything.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
yeah, I thought it was it's just like they like Kaufman put human elements and made them weirder
Right.
because like basically Cusack and Diaz are like married with children. That's the feel you get in the movie, but he made it weird by it just being 20 animals
Right.
that are basically
Yeah.
the children.
Right.
And it just adds some weirder element that makes the story work a little bit
There's
more.
always something wrong with the children.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny when he's locking Cameron Diaz up in the cage and he's yelling "shut up," and
Yeah.
when the neighbors are yelling "shut up," and he's locking me in a cage, and the parrot would like, repeat, "She's
Yeah.
locking." I taught him that. Isn't that funny? Like, yeah.
There was a scene where she tells him to do something with the animal, and he goes, "Wait, which one is that?" I was
Yeah.
like, "That's a totally dad."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the lizard, right?
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's the other one.
I wonder if Kaufman started with just a generic family in his script with like kids, and he was
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm just gonna make them
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
A chimp and an iguana and a parrot and
Right.
That's another thing that I don't know necessarily bothered me is the right way to say it, but his total like 180 of he sees Maxine and he just flips and he like throws his wife to the curb after she
Yeah.
like encourages him and she's there, like he wants to be a puppeteer. That's his dream, and she's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Mhm.
Just try your best and do whatever. But and then he sees Maxine and he just turns 180.
Yeah.
Right.
like the longing for Maxine as a character. That's another thing I was just like, why?
Yeah,
she's
that
fucking
confused
she's
me a little
bitch.
bit,
Like,
but-
why would you
Yeah.
like her? But I guess it's just
Because
like the
she knew
reaching,
she was-
Yeah.
reaching of like the potential of like finding a person who knows what, knows what she
knows
is.
What they want, She
Yeah.
always commanded the room she was in, or whatever.
Right. Got
Yeah.
got the self confidence that he doesn't have.
Right.
So maybe
Which
that's what
is
he was
crazy
attracted to.
because all she does is reject him, and
Yeah.
then there's his wife
Right.
who's like, "Yeah, I believe in you as a puppeteer."
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's just crazy.
I also, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it just plays off with him wanting her because of her personality and
Mhm.
how he wants to be
Yeah.
John Malkovich because of who John Malkovich
Right.
is. He's
Yeah.
always wanting to be somebody else. He's not content with who he is,
Mhm.
and he has to finally, come to peace with that. I don't know if he ever does in the end.
I don't think so.
but
No.
Yeah, because he's
Wasn't he the
I'll
kid?
go back or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go right back.
But anyway, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I also liked how Cameron Diaz's character, she is like you like feel for her more. She's like got more empathy or whatever. And then once she goes down the portal, she flips a switch too, where she's like selfish and greedy about her situation because it's so like like she's so into it now.
Right.
Like anyone who went down the portal it's like when you're living a depressed life, even the most like mundane thing as a celebrity is going to make you feel so much better than what you're feeling now. Like when one dude is like in Malkovich and he's just like ordering towels and like he's like pulling the leftovers out of his fridge.
Right.
Like that's the 15-minute experience that guy gets, and even that was like
Enough.
amazing for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the first guy you see, he's like, I'm so fat, and she's like $200. He's like, oh, okay, and it wasn't even his first choice of celebrity when she says
Right.
it's John Malkovich. She's like, not my first choice, but he still does it, and he probably comes back for more. It's just that
Yeah.
idea of, like you said, being a celebrity for a day, for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes in the spotlight.
And yeah, I was wondering, like, with the switch that Cameron Diaz's character had, it's like she's such a, like, they're both like grungy and depressed or whatever, but Malkovich, as an actor, as a celebrity, you just probably have an inherent happiness that like is in you, and like with Cameron Diaz going into that, she probably felt something like the confidence or like the male bravado that Malkovich had. Like she liked that feeling,
Right.
and like wanted to strive for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously Malkovich killed it in this movie.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna do it. He kept turning him down and saying do somebody else.
Yeah.
And I thought that was wild because I can't see anybody else doing it because it's just John Malkovich.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
his.
I
This was meant
wondered-
for him.
Yeah, I wondered if he like regrets making this movie or not, because it's a fantastic movie, but I think it also made him into like a meme like
Kind of, yeah.
it's like a amplified version of himself, obviously,
Right.
and it's so like real that I wonder if people just can't see past being John Malkovich for him now,
Right.
Right.
which is maybe a good thing because he's like in the culture ingrained as like John Malkovich now,
Yeah.
but also maybe because this was only like he was only been an actor for like 10 years before this.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
He was
wasn't.
still young. It was 1999.
Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
like prolific
Right.
yet, but this movie acted as if he was and it made him a prolific actor. I feel
Right.
like through what it was trying to say.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, I mean, even the small snips we get of when it's just him, he seemed like in the movie at least, he seemed like he was just like this humble dude, like looking for work, doing stage plays,
Yeah.
trying to find stuff to do. So I mean, maybe that's like the piece that we get that he wanted to show, and then we get all the people.
I did
playing their
see
part as
that
him.
he basically says now that the only real thing in the movie for him was like his wardrobe or whatever.
Mm.
Right.
So like I'm assuming he went into this saying like I'm playing the character of John Malkovich.
Yeah.
But it's like with the audience, they're not going to know that. They're going to see John Malkovich and see him in his house with his like
Right.
getting his shit ready, and they're going to
Right.
think that this is really him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun bit too. Kind of just a throwaway joke to celebrity culture, I would assume. But when he gets in the cab,
Yeah.
and it's like
That
you're in
one
that
from
in a
the
heist movie,
the
right?
jewel thief,
The jewel thief. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Like, oh, no,
John
that wasn't-
Cusack uses that when he's telling his wife about it. He's like, John Malkovich, he's in the jewel thief
Jewel
movie.
Thief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even barely know John Malkovich, but being a celebrity,
Right.
that gave him that hard on that he needed to.
Yeah. I thought once Cusack is in Malkovich and Malkovich is playing Cusack's character, I mean that's where Malkovich really shines,
Yeah.
when he was like acting as someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a really funny part where he's like shifting in and out of like because
Yeah.
Malkovich is fighting him. And he's like, "Shut up, you overrated piece of shit!"
Yeah.
And he's just saying it about himself, so it's
Right.
just hilarious.
I really enjoyed the puppet dance that he did too. John Malkovich
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
I thought that
yeah.
was super. I killed it in
It's
that.
super
Yeah.
smart too, because like when you're shitty and on the street and no one knows your name, no one's gonna give you the attention or the like
Yeah.
Time of day.
prestige that
Yeah.
you want. But once you have like the name and the correct audience in line,
Right.
then like your art is amplified. And
Yeah.
like the dance in the beginning, I think is exactly the
Yeah, it
same
is.
as the dance.
Because
that
he
does.
throws at the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like really smart, like what the movie is saying overall
Right.
is like
Right.
saying how when you have that audience or when you have that prestige, you can say more and do more.
It's all
Right.
about the title and then how do you get known. Like puppeteer slapped, punched out in the street. John Malkovich being a puppeteer, he blows up.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just
He changes the industry. Sean
Right.
Penn wants to be.
Yeah. I think Charlie Sheen being John Malkovich's friend was really cool.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
fun.
funny. Him showing up balding.
Right.
And nowadays he's not even bald. So it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was like. John Malkovich had hair as he got older, and then
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen was balding, and was like, "Don't worry, buddy. I found a way to make us live forever."
I thought it was super strange though at the end when John Cusack is in the little girl's body.
Yeah.
That was a little weird.
So weird.
Yeah.
Well, they hinted at that happening if they didn't make it past the midnight or whatever. They'd be
Yeah.
stuck in just as a watcher or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's kind of why I was like, is this because he's forced to live that life now forever, where he's like
Right.
watching his
Mhm.
Maxine and Lottie or whatever. and he is deserving of that fate because he was the original person to like cheat on his wife or want to cheat on his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Lottie was just as shitty too.
Right.
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 And she has the happy ending, and like I was kind of on board with Cusack's character, how he just was like going about his life, or like when he goes in the portal. It's not about how I can manipulate this forever. It's like, this changes everything about what I know about life and metaphysical.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, yeah, I would have that kind of reaction too. I don't know. And then he's obviously a shitty person and he
Right.
deserves what he gets. But at the same time, I don't know if he fully deserved that ending.
Right. You
Right.
you almost sympathize with his character more.
Yeah.
I just feel like he was more fleshed out, I think, than Cameron Diaz's, because she like they both kind of flipped the switch, but her switch was a little more like sudden for me. Her instant like, yeah, that was amazing. I need to go back. I want to be a man. You know, all this stuff. I figured out who I am, and it's just kind of like, wow, this is a lot. I mean, I can
Right.
understand John Cusack being like, whoa, chill out, bitch, just
Yeah, right.
relax.
Yeah.
You know, but
And she wanted to kill Maxine, right? And then
yeah,
and she goes, "You're the father." And then now
Right.
they're happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took
I'm just
one
like,
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like at the beginning, you can tell she was a little bit jealous of Maxine, and then suddenly she's like, I love you.
I'm in love with
Yeah.
you.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That
the-
scene where they both kiss her at
Yeah.
the same time. I was like, holy
yeah,
shit.
when they're on the
What am I
couch and then
watching?
just suddenly
Yeah.
clicks and she slaps John Cusack. No, I thought that, yeah, like you said, Maxine's character, I just didn't vibe really
Mhm.
with her
Yeah.
character.
I getcha.
I mean, she was just kind of like what propelled the story and kept it moving, I
Yeah.
guess, in a way, but that just felt kind of forced at times, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Especially with her and Lottie's character.
Yeah.
But yeah. But
The
I bounced
whole old
between.
people thing too. I thought was kind
I
of.
didn't really
weird.
understand that
Were
whole.
they
The vessel.
aliens
Yeah.
or something?
Not
No,
I don't know.
They just want to live forever.
Yeah,
Right.
what's his name
Oh.
was like the captain in that movie that tried to explain why the rooms or why the ceilings were low.
Mhm.
He was
Yeah.
like the captain who like built that building,
Right.
and found a way to keep living in other people's
Yeah.
bodies. Like that was the
And
Yeah.
it
Explanation,
only
but-
goes into the Malkovich's bloodline. Or I
yeah,
guess, right?
right. Yeah.
So that's how he's. So and that makes me think he's Malkovich's dad,
or something. Yeah.
Oh.
because he had to be in the previous Malkovich's body, unless he hasn't. Because he said he switched bodies already.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, right. He's been in previous.
Yeah, he said he
bodies.
wasn't. Was it Dr. Lester?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he said he wasn't Dr. Lester. He was
Right.
the captain. So I'm assuming. Well, I don't know. His last name's Lester, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just wondered like if he plans on having a kid, and then maybe just abandons them for 44 years, and then hops in their body, and then does the
Yeah.
same thing like again. Is that?
That's a little weird to think about.
Right.
That's what I thought happened.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it
Like-
makes sense. It's just weird to think about, and I kind of
Yeah.
don't want to think about it.
Right.
but-
And somehow he's able to take all his friends with him.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, that didn't really explain. He
I
just said,
didn't
"Oh,
know.
I found out a way that I can bring
Yeah.
people with me."
Yeah.
And that
this
was
whole
that.
Nursing home.
That's kind of what took me a little bit down. I was like, just some of the
Yeah.
hand wavy moments,
Yeah,
which I get because it's such a weird fucking story. But
Yeah.
yeah. You
eventually,
kind of
you
have to be
kinda-
along with it, you know?
Yeah.
But I kept bouncing between like a 3.5 and a 4. I landed on a
That's
4.
where I sat. Yeah.
Yeah,
I put it at 4. It was at 4.5 for me,
Mm.
just because this is I think one of my favorite scripts, like I've read or seen on the screen.
Yeah.
It's just so funny and so kooky
Yeah.
and so its own voice that you have to respect it
Right.
almost.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a well written, and then just
Mhm.
he knew what he wanted
Right.
in the
Yeah.
script, and it was
You
just
just
it
went
worked
with
out.
it.
Yeah.
After I watched it, I was like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but I dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the moment, I think I put it at 4.5.
Mm.
Yeah.
But like now thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Some aspects are kind of like,
Yeah.
but it's still. I think it's one of the best movies
Yeah.
I've seen this year.
Yeah, and it was I mean, I don't know. I say this about every recent movie I watched, whatever. It was like one of the quickest 2 hours of a movie that I've
Right.
ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
For sure.
It went
yeah.
so quick,
Mhm.
like it did not feel the time at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you guys notice David Fincher's cameo?
No, I didn't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because it's like one of the L.A. news writers where he's talking about Malkovich being like a genius puppeteer. He's like, this is a new art form or whatever.
Was
And
it him?
that was him. Yeah, I was like,
Oh.
I was like, is that a real guy? Because it looks like David Fincher. And I looked it up, and it's David Fincher.
Oh my god!
Wow,
I
I
just
didn't even
noticed
notice.
Brad Pitt, and that was
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
Just
funny.
staring awkwardly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Super meta, super weird.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes me want to see Adaptation. That's another one of Kaufman's.
Yep.
Ooh,
And I think
And-
Cusack's in that one, is he?
I think he might be. I think
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is in that.
Mhm.
Nikki.
But
Mhm.
that's from what I know about that one. It's like almost too self-aware, but it's
Oh.
supposedly really good. So.
Okay.
He did that other claymation one, which is the man and
Anomalisa.
woman. Yeah, that's been on my list for a long time,
Yeah, me too.
just because it looks weird as shit, and I kind of want to know what it's about. So
Looks like a weird emotional story
Right.
told through claymation.
what really intrigued me, and this is gonna sound weird, but it's under the rating. It says graphic nudity. How do you do that with claymation? I'm just a little
You
curious.
seen Team America?
No,
You've not seen Team America?
no.
I mean, there's puppet sex in that movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's been done before. Huh?
It's possible.
Oh my god.
That's a little sculpting. And,
I'm just a little curious how it can be done. Is all.
Oh,
You know, it might be a little weird, but I'm wondering, you know, how do you make a rated R claymation with graphic nudity? I want to know. I mean, I have an idea. I mean, obviously we've all played with Play-Doh before, but, but
I think that one's in the chest, so
Oh,
we
God.
can get there sooner rather than
Sweet,
later if you want. you
sweet.
know? Yeah, I'm glad we got this one. This is just such a unique movie
Yeah.
that I'm glad we got it
Yeah.
done.
Sometimes the weirder the movie or
right,
concept,
yeah.
it can go either way. But
Yeah.
this one just worked out.
it worked.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
hit
Sure,
right,
for
you know.
sure.
So
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was a lot in the acting too, because this might be one of my favorite movies that John Cusack has done.
absolutely,
I was thinking that too.
I
As
think
I was
this
watching
was-
it.
He really killed it in his role. I
Yeah.
thought.
It peaked here. I
Yeah, I
think.
like didn't think that it was like John Cusack. You know what I mean? I was like, while he was playing the character, I was like, this does not seem like a character John Cusack would play, but
Right.
he's killing it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. A shame, because I really like him in Love and Mercy, you know, and that's the more recent one, and I think he pretty much killed that one too.
Yeah.
But this one, after watching this one, I was like, this is his best role, I think.
Really
so
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, because I guess most of other stuff I've seen him is like he's got that like snarky side to him, kind of.
Right.
And this one, he just full on was like, I'm a loser,
right.
and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to be anything other than a loser.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was a good one. What you guys want to do next?
I think we should do Twister next and
Yeah.
save the
Yeah,
apartment
I
for
agree.
last.
That's a good idea.
Save the
Yeah.
best for last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You know, this is the one I chose, directed by Jan de Bont.
Jean de
Jean de Bont. Yeah.
He's an artiste.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I
That's
thought
good.
you know, it was fun.
Yeah.
after watching all these, though, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to rag on your pick, but
No.
it's just
Yeah.
it was the weakest.
It definitely
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
It was a little
Well,
lesser.
That's what throughout it, I was like, oh man, the whole divorce storyline and a lot of the dialogue, I was like,
Yeah.
oh man,
It
this
just
is-
didn't. After watching these high tier movies, you're just kind
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah.
well, let me turn my
Yeah.
brain off for
Yeah.
an hour.
Right,
and
right.
see how
Cheesy,
50
it's
minutes-
And I was like,
hammy.
well, at
Yeah.
least I get to see houses torn apart.
Right.
Like-
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
mean, this is like the definition of a summer blockbuster movie in the
Yeah.
90s. Dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny that it's entertaining,
Right.
right.
especially for that time, I would assume.
Right.
Mhm.
Where like a tornado in a movie is a novel concept.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Back before, you know,
yeah.
everything became.
For CGI.
Right.
I
Right.
guess.
Well, yeah, it
I
was.
don't know.
This
That's
was
what
like
we were
one of the
talking about.
first inklings of CGI, I
Yeah.
want to say.
It was
Yeah.
well known for what they were able to do
Right.
in a
Yeah,
couple
like
hours.
the simulations of the tornado and stuff.
Mhm.
Right.
I was wondering, like, it might have been hard to like greenlight this movie as an exec when you don't know that the tornadoes are going to look so good.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
It's never been done before,
Right.
and you're not going to get practical tornadoes on
Yeah,
film.
Right.
You know, like, so you
Yeah.
have to make it work.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that like this being the movie to like first try making a realistic simulation of a
Mhm.
tornado, and then the kind of premise that the weather chasers, the storm chasers are going after is to like create an accurate profile of a tornado.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this movie is writing itself in a way,
Yeah.
like, but yeah, like I said, a lot of the dialogue just like felt flat,
Yeah.
like it just, yeah,
It was written by Michael Crichton
Really?
and his wife, Anne Marie Martin.
that's right, yeah,
Yeah, which is,
right.
if you know Michael Crichton, he wrote Jurassic Park and
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
crazy sci-fi
Oh.
stuff.
Yeah.
So this was kind of funny to
Okay.
like see this written by him.
Yeah.
This, I mean, it's not a fantastic movie. This one was slightly elevated by the script, I thought.
Mhm.
It was like enough of a well-rounded script to show that like the writer knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
The movie knew what it was.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it felt you felt that in this. It wasn't like your typical disaster movie where you're in it for the disasters alone and things like that. At least that's how I kind of felt. I mean,
Mm.
you were in there for the disasters that are happening,
Yeah.
but you're kind of with it with the characters too,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that helped a lot with Bill Paxton for me
Oh,
at
yeah.
least. I
Yeah.
think he did really
I
well.
actually
agree.
cannot stand Bill Paxton.
What?
Really?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know if it was him, the actor, or the character.
That's
I was
fair.
just every time he speaks, I'm like, shut up.
Really?
I don't know why.
That's crazy.
Maybe it's just me.
No,
I don't know.
I can see where you're coming from, bro.
I do think Helen Hunt's dialogue felt just more rooted in realism. I guess
Yeah.
it just felt
I
like
can
more
see
like a
that.
real woman,
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
be
yeah.
kind of being pissed that this dude like flaked. You know,
right,
like
right.
I think the best scene with her was when they finally camped out at her aunt's house,
Mhm.
yeah,
and I think it's her and her aunt talking about
Yeah.
like the relationship and everything. That's when like I was like, oh, okay, we can stop chasing storms.
right.
And, like,
We get
have
a little
scenes
breather.
now.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, and it kind of brings the opening scene into the narrative a little bit more.
Yeah.
Of like, who are we following here? Oh,
Yeah.
it's this girl whose life was literally
Right.
like torn apart by
Yeah.
a tornado.
Right.
So you don't
kind of.
really see her kind of be emotional
Yeah,
with all the
right.
divorce, whatever she was like about to sign it, whatever, and then that moment she just kind of like she has tears in her eyes.
Right.
It's just like,
Mm.
oh, maybe
Yeah.
that's why I didn't like Bill Paxton.
No,
She's
yeah.
like, don't you hurt her.
No, yeah, that's totally fair.
It's kind of funny because I saw the opening scene of this movie when I was like a wee child,
Mhm.
and it like scared me, like with
Yeah.
the family going underground and
Yeah.
then the dad like flying
Mhm.
away. I was like, oh god, and then we live in the Midwest, so obviously tornadoes and shit are real
Right.
for us.
Right.
And I was like, oh god, what the fuck, would that really happen? And then it's funny like watching this now because the rest of the movie is not that tone at all.
Yeah.
No.
It's just a silly like romp.
Yeah.
You know,
I love
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman throughout it.
Yeah, he's
Like,
great,
he
dude.
was
That
so
dude's always good
goofy.
though. Like,
Yeah.
he kills it.
yeah.
Yeah, he was great. The suck zone. It's not the technical term for it. But
Yeah. I mean, he plays that character perfectly too. The one who's
Mhm.
just amped and ready.
yeah, ready to
do
chase
it.
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a lot of actors in this movie too.
Carrie.
Carrie Elwes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
and
you know?
Yeah.
even
Yeah, he's
what'd you say?
great.
I was just like, he's so attractive.
Yeah,
Like,
He'll
you
never
like
not.
him as Wesley.
Right. Yeah, I was
and
gonna
the
say.
guy from Ella Enchanted,
Oh,
the
yeah.
uncle.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really?
Anyway.
But even some like lesser known people, there were. I mean,
Yeah.
the crew of our protagonist crew was like 15 to 20 people almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
And-
one of them was a lieutenant in Saving Private Ryan. He's like kind of that wimpy
Oh,
soldier.
yeah, Jeremy Davies.
Is
I
that
think
his
that's-
name? Yeah. Okay.
I know him from Lost too. He's he's the guy who comes to the island later, and he's like got the mathematician mind or whatever.
Oh,
Oh.
really? Okay.
Long hairish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
One of the
my
best characters in
God.
Lost.
Yeah, he is good in that.
Alan Ruck was in there.
Alan
Right.
Rock was in it. Yeah.
He's like, what?
So yeah, I was
Patrick Fischler.
Yes.
He's like the kind of the smaller,
Yeah.
short-haired kind of guy.
Like, mm.
Anthony Rapp.
Which one was he?
I actually wrote that down, and I don't even remember him being in the movie, but I'm pretty sure he was because I
Yeah.
wrote it down.
Right.
But he's from Rent.
Yeah, I love him.
Mm.
in
I
that.
think he was just a little bit of like a side
Yeah.
background kind of guy.
Mm.
He probably had
I
one
never
line
saw
being
him.
like, "It's over there."
Yeah.
Whoa.
In terms of disaster movies, I don't know where I'd rank this one because it doesn't really. At times I forget about Twister, you know,
Mm.
and so I think, it doesn't rank up there with the fun that like Poseidon or The Day After Tomorrow
Yeah.
has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then, but it's up there because obviously it broke ground for these types of
Yeah.
movies. So I guess
Yeah.
I appreciate it for that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just it's an enjoyable, and I like Bill Paxton.
Yeah. I
But-
could
My bad.
appreciate.
Well, you wanted tension in the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
So
Just
here,
guys,
here
go
it
at
is.
it. Go
Yeah.
at it.
Have you seen Frailty? I mean, come on.
No, so maybe I should.
Well, no, you might hate Bill Paxton even more after watching that. So maybe that was a bad one to bring out.
I also don't know where I've seen him too.
Mm.
So
I
He's
know-
in a lot.
I know he's in Aliens,
Aliens.
but I haven't seen it.
Nightcrawler. I remember he's in that one.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
he?
he's the other.
Oh
he's-
yeah, he's
the
the news.
chaser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another news
Yeah.
man.
What
Yeah.
a wild movie.
I love that
I
movie,
just
yeah.
rewatched that too.
I'm a sucker for Jake Gyllenhaal. But
Oh, right.
anyways,
He's got a new one coming out called The Guilty. Him
Ooh.
and fuck. I'm drawing a blank on the other guy.
it's got Jake Gyllenhaal, so you
Yeah,
you,
it's got
you already,
Jake
you
Gyllenhaal.
already
That's
got
enough.
me.
Got him.
But there's another big actor in it, but I can't think of his name right now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
I'm pretty excited.
I did think like throughout this movie, like how much fun it probably was to just watch like build these sets and then
Mhm.
destroy them. You know,
Right.
like
It's a big budget movie. I looked at it's like 90 million, which and nowadays it's like 150 million.
Right.
Probably. which that's big budget.
Yeah.
And I appreciated all the practical stuff in this movie because just thinking about it, they will never build houses and destroy them ever again.
Right.
Like, because they'll just do it in the computer.
CGI, man.
Yeah.
Simulate
Which
getting Houdini up in
sucks.
this.
It does, and like it does give you a sense of authenticity in this movie
Yeah.
of where you are. And like one of the funnest parts is when the fucking house just tumbles over in the
Yes.
road.
Yeah, dude.
We're going in.
Yeah, drives up the stairs and out.
Yeah.
And you see all of it, and it's all real.
Yeah.
And you can't. I mean, that's just great
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I thought that one and the drive-in scene were just like just
We're
really
like,
fun.
oh.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like wondering, are storm and tornado chasers like even real anymore? Like,
Yeah.
apparently they are. I looked
They
it
just
up.
post
Really?
the videos on YouTube. Or
Yeah,
like
oh, yeah.
Facebook. Just like,
Or
"Oh, there it
TikTok."
is."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fucking
But I did see that like after this movie that like industry boomed because like people saw this movie and wanted to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think I landed on. I had it at 3.5, but I dropped it down to 3 stars simply because the dialogue and like I don't know. I couldn't.
It's silly, and it's
I
not
couldn't stick
taking
with it.
itself seriously as
Yeah.
it should. Because even
Yeah.
with like the document signing of the divorce,
Yeah.
it's like in a real world, they would have signed it
Right.
already. He didn't have to come home and with his new wife
Right.
to sign it.
And then
That's
and
just
then
adding
go on this
drama.
odyssey of chasing.
Right, she would have signed it.
twisters.
They would have drove off.
Yeah.
End of movie. But
Right.
they have to like, we got a tornado. We forgot to sign it. Oh no, you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive with you too.
Yeah.
It's like. It's like they are trying to get that drama of the main two
Right.
people. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to keep them together somehow, and it's kind of manufactured after a
Oh
certain
yeah,
point.
for sure. It feels that way at least. Yeah.
I think I landed on a 3. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. It
Yeah.
was a fun
Yeah,
movie.
it was
I
fun.
mean,
I like
shit.
the part where Jonas dies, and they're both like, "Well, we tried."
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. And then
Dude drove right into a tornado.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, at the very least, a fun, mind-numbing watch. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to just turn off your brain and
Mhm.
veg out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that you were scared of the intro
Opening scene.
because like when I found out I was moving to America, I wasn't scared of like the bullies or whatever. I was like, oh my god, tornadoes! I was like, oh god. But
I mean, they are scary. Like
It
that's
is.
yeah.
Honestly, it's a real fear, man.
Oh
You know?
yeah, I guess that. I mean, that reminds me just because like the fear of tornadoes when they're tied to the pipes and they're like looking
Like, oh,
at the
God.
vortex. I was like, holy shit, that's gotta
Yeah.
be terrifying,
Right.
But, yeah.
And I thought like the scenes where they like the tornado goes through the drive-in and it hits the town, and like you see the massive destruction that an actual
Yeah.
tornado can cause. Like that you needed that in this movie to
Yeah.
show
For
that
sure.
it's actually real and people are
Right.
affected by these, and
Right.
it's not just
Movie
Yeah.
10
magic.
people chasing
Right.
endless tornadoes in
Yeah.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely accomplishes that, and even at the end where it's like they were running on foot away from this thing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and like they look back and I was like, wow, it completely just passed the house. Like they're
Right.
on this like literally like 50 feet away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It hit the barn they were in, and like so it's just like it's rooted somewhat in realism
Yeah.
in that way, but yeah.
And then you get stuff like where a tractor flies overhead and they duck it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's like
That's the fun
it's
stuff.
trying to find a balance somewhere.
Yeah,
Cow
right.
floating
Yeah.
back and forth.
I think that's the same cow. Yeah. And I realized too, I wonder, it'd be kind of fun to have like a video showing like the actual time, but the bulk of this entire movie is people getting into cars, leaving
Yeah.
cars, and driving cars.
Right.
A lot of wide, just like
Yeah,
Mhm.
Action
Shots
of
following.
cars going down
Yeah.
the road,
Right.
turning on the road.
oh shit, it's over there. What road are we
Right.
on? Oh,
It's like a giant chase scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder like per like capita of this movie or whatever, how much was just driving
Yeah.
shots.
yeah.
I give it 3.5. It's like it knows what it is.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's silly. It gets to the serious thoughts. The script was like enough around it to do it. I
Yeah.
totally understand it being 3 stars though.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
I give it 3.
It's
It
in that
kinda-
range.
Have you guys been to Universal?
Yes.
They have like the Twister ride,
Yep.
Yeah.
and because I've never seen Twister, so like when I was watching it, I thought it was so cool. There were certain scenes I was like, okay, I remember riding that ride.
The visceral feeling.
Yeah, like when there was like an explosion or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I remember the
heat.
Oh, yeah. I saw a comment in the thread on Letterboxd. Someone read, I watched this movie in 40, turned my fan up to highest thing, and it was amazing. I was like, all right, there
That
you
might
go.
actually enhance the experience.
Right.
Yeah, fun movie.
Yeah,
Definitely like a
fun.
fun, silly blockbuster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But let's get into the real
Uh,
shit.
Yeah.
The
Raw
piece à la
shit.
resistance.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Patricia, I'm so glad you picked this movie.
Yeah,
Honestly,
honestly,
I did not
So
know
good.
what it was about.
it's a
Really?
game. It's a
Yeah.
game changer.
Wow.
I just
man.
know that it's like one of the good ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I read up on. It was
Oh,
directed by Billy Wilder.
what's the
Mhm.
movie called?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Apartment.
1960s.
1960.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god.
An oldie but a goodie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently this director is more like he doesn't really, I guess he cares obviously, but like not more into the shots or whatever, just more on the writing,
Yeah.
which I
Which
can totally
shows.
I could see
Yeah.
that.
like
Absolutely.
I said it earlier, if I could write a movie, it would be this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So, yeah.
What I came away with right after this movie was like, this is one of the best scripts I've ever seen,
Yep.
and it's also would have been like one of the best scripts written today. And
Absolutely.
Right.
it's 60 years old.
Right.
So like that's amazing.
The subject matter it tackles is like,
Mhm.
I don't know about I wasn't alive in the 60s, but I can imagine this was, like something the 60s never really
Yeah.
like tried to
Scandalous,
touch,
yeah.
right? And the whole premise, I mean, he's letting his apartment to these people who
love
just want to
shack.
shag.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And then it's just I when I watched it, I didn't rate it right away.
Mhm.
And I went the whole day, and by the time dinner came around I finally rated it because I thought there's nothing wrong with this movie.
Yeah,
And I
that's
kept
what-
trying to think of something wrong
Right.
with
Same
it.
here. I was like, I don't know what I would say bad about
Right.
this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And-
just the way it crumbles cookie wise.
There were so many good callbacks to the the
Yes.
script is like beautiful.
It
And,
is.
yeah, there's so many good moments that come back around in
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
a fun or a unique way.
Mhm.
And the reveals and the
Right.
story that
Yes.
happen.
It plays with what you as an audience
Yeah.
member know and what the characters
Mhm.
know
Yeah.
so well.
Exactly.
And it plays with it like through the dialogue and
Right.
stuff, and it's just like
And the things before certain characters know
Right.
about it, and it's just it was so well
yeah.
written.
I was like
and
so surprised by Jack Lemmon
Right.
like
Dude,
he
I
was
want to
just
see
like
everything that guy's in.
right.
Yeah,
I
same.
went on and put a bunch of stuff on my watch list
Yeah.
because I want to see this guy. You
The
know,
physical comedy that he embodies,
Mhm.
like
Right.
it's just like I mean, with the first scene where narration, it's like him honing in on like New York, then his building, then him,
Yeah.
and then his
Mhm.
job. It's like it gets like that guy's like
Yeah.
brain, like you
he's
get
like going
that
through
guy's
the statistics and
idea of
yeah.
him
Mhm.
across. And you're like immediately like enraptured by him, and then just the way he carries every scene after that.
Right.
I love this dude. I just
Yeah.
think
He
he's
killed it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel for him when he's sitting outside his apartment at night, like waiting
Yeah.
for this, his bum boss to get out of his
Yeah.
apartment, and then Miss Kubelik, like
Mhm.
she's like the every girl, he's the every guy that you
Yeah.
want to see together. And
right?
Yeah.
For me, my first thought too after I finished it was like, this is the kind of superhero that I can get behind
Yeah,
because this is a superhero movie for me.
Mhm.
I because that dude, he was like, he was a hero. He did all these things for these people. Didn't want to.
yeah,
He took the blame when he didn't have to. He
Yep.
saved the damsel.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it just, I don't know. That's the superhero
that
movie I
shows
can
you
get
his
behind.
like his character
Yeah.
as
Right.
a person. for
Yeah.
and
sure.
and most people might think, oh, he just doesn't want to be a snitch. I'm like, no, he's just
No,
a good
no.
guy.
He says it
you
himself.
know?
He's like the type of guy who like can't say no.
Yeah.
Right.
And like he just wants to be a
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah.
And he is a good guy all the
Yeah.
way down to it. He's a good guy all the way to
sure.
the end.
And
you know?
honestly, I was kind of like, because I know older movies kind of tend to treat the women badly,
Yeah.
Right.
how. But he wasn't pushy at all,
No.
Right.
When
Yeah.
he was never like, oh, like you should totally just get with me,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, he's just
Right.
so nice.
I
Right.
really appreciated like the sensitive nature of his character.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in
Right.
like contrast to Sheldrake.
Right, which is like a
Yeah.
far cry probably from
Right.
every other person in that time.
Mhm.
Right.
Or most people in that
Yeah.
time. And that's why it's in 1960. This won Best Picture. I can see why, because it's like showing you what you can be instead of what
Exactly.
you have to be.
Mhm.
You know, like
Yeah.
and like with Shirley MacLaine's character, she was such a strong, independent woman
Yeah.
too,
Mhm.
and like the fact that she was roped into like the man's story, and she clearly like didn't want to be or didn't want
Mhm.
to be in love with that story. I felt equally as compelled with her
Right.
as
Right.
Jack Lemmon's character
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I felt
like
they were
when
both treated
Yeah.
super well in the
Mhm.
script.
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes down to the script and how
Right.
these
Right.
characters are written, and it
That-
just
Yeah, they're like the
Great.
most level-headed characters,
Right.
and like by the end you're wanting them to get together, and thank God by the end,
Right.
like
I was
come
a
to
little
the
skeptical that
realization.
it wasn't gonna happen.
Right, same,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene
Yeah,
where
it plays with you just enough.
he finds or when he realizes that she owned the mirror.
Yes.
And that line where he was like, "Oh, your mirror's broken."
Yep.
She was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to look the way I feel." I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. No, like I
That was a
loved.
mess.
Yeah, her opening scene with Sheldrake in the bar.
Mhm.
She's like another Thursday,
Right.
another bar, the same
Yeah.
song, and then she ends up on New Year's like kind of the same
Yeah.
deal, like
Yeah.
with this
Yeah.
guy. Like,
Another good line was, "I keep falling in love with the wrong man at the wrong time in the wrong place," something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, fuck.
yeah.
And the fact that she's like self-aware of that too is really
Yeah.
really nice.
What played off really nice too is the mix of like the lighthearted sort of comic moments
Oh, yeah.
in this dark subject matter that
Mhm.
just it all just melded together nicely. You know,
Yeah.
you had those deep moments like that you know, like what her character would say, and
Yeah.
I would really hit you good, and then you would laugh too. I found myself laughing.
I
Yeah.
laughed out loud
Right.
a lot in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, it
Some
was
of-
clever.
One moment in particular, I just like cracked up. It's Jack Lemmon just doing spot on physical comedy when
Is it the noodles?
What's that?
The noodles?
You should see
I
my
Love when he's
backhand.
making the
Noodles are fucking
pasta
great,
and he's
yeah.
straining it through the tennis racket. You should see my backhand.
Yeah.
Just, like lays the.
Yeah, but when the brother-in-law shows up to find her,
Yeah.
and like he walks and he's super pissed, and then like Jack Lemmon, like he does like a weird hand thing where he's like
Yeah.
pointing at him like he's about to like come at him again. He's
Yeah.
like immediately goes, "You want a martini?" I don't know, man. Just the way you can transform in that
Right.
scene, it's just
So
so
bad.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love his neighbors, like because like yeah, he like it sets him up as the guy, his doctor neighbor. I forget his name. Is it
Dr. Dreyfus.
Dreyfus? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, where he's like, you keep going like this, Jack, or keep going like this, Baxter. You're like, would you mind donating your body to science? You're having all these parties, you're having all these ladies over, and he's like not the type of guy to like argue because it's like not worth his energy, you know,
Right.
kind of. And it's like he knows he's comfortable with what he's doing, kind of.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like it just endears you more to him. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. And I actually when what's her name? Shirley's name.
Shirley MacLaine.
Yeah, what's her character's name?
Look, Fran.
Fran.
Yeah, when I didn't think that Fran was going to I didn't think the script was going to take her as far as to attempt suicide
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
it's
I was
I mean
surprised.
it's in the 60s. Is
Right,
this a
yeah.
subject matter that you want to touch and
Right.
you know and it did and I'm glad it did because it
Yeah.
needed that, but I was shocked that this movie surprised me in more ways than just
Yeah.
one, and it was
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
nothing
sure.
but good things to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
There was another one. Maybe it was just me in the moment of watching it, but it just felt like modern, smart writing.
Mhm.
Right.
Where like just in the craziness of the situation, he kicks out the girl he brought home because Fran's there now, and he
Yeah.
didn't even realize it. And then like there's this kooky music or whatever happening, and then he comes in and he like takes the record player off. So to me it felt like it was diegetic music in the scene,
Yeah,
and then like
right.
it's just like, or actually I was sorry, I felt like it was like a score
Yeah.
that was trying to encapsulate the emotion of that scene.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he comes in and takes it off the record player, and I totally forgot the record player was
Right.
playing.
It
Yeah.
shifts kind of.
And it shifts the tone immediately because
Right.
then he goes and talks to Fran about like
Right.
what's
Yeah.
going
Right.
on.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's just like clearly the scriptwriter is just smart. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
So
of the
good.
script, so like when you said that she, drank the pills, I like the smallest details. Like we know he took sleeping pills,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I was like, oh my god, like
It all comes
because
back.
in some movies you're just like, oh, they just have
Right.
pills, and
They throw
Yeah.
these things in
Yeah.
and they don't revisit them or
Mhm.
don't.
like
Yeah.
even the record player, like you saw her put that on, and then
Right.
it was just like,
And
oh,
honestly, when she was looking at the pills, my first thought was, "Oh, she's gonna find out this is Baxter's house."
That's
And
kind of what I
then-
thought too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I was
Description-wise.
like,
Right.
my immediate thought was like, "Oh shit, she's gonna kill herself."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what's
right.
gonna happen
Yeah.
because I think she looked at the razor too, didn't she, or
I-
something like that. I don't know. She was rummaging through a bunch of shit, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
"Holy shit, she's gonna kill herself." I
Mhm.
was like, "They won't do that in this movie." Sure enough.
Yeah.
Tries,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another good moment that like they tease and then it comes back is like with Dreyfus's character. He's like, "When are you gonna become a mensch or whatever?" And
Yeah.
then,
Oh, yeah.
What's a mensch? A human being. And then at the end, when he finally like grows balls to quit his job, he's like,
Mhm.
"I'm becoming a mensch,
Mhm.
Yeah.
a human being."
Yeah.
It's just like these like those moments are all you need. You just need to set it up
Yeah.
and pay it off. And they did that
Exactly.
with 20 different things in
Yeah.
the script. It
Yeah.
was great.
And that same scene with the key.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I was just thinking.
Right.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah, I love that because it made the ending when Fran runs back to his apartment and finds him packing and stuff, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do now? He's like, I don't know, a different job, a new job in a new city with someone new, and he's like, I don't know, and it's like that's just like something real someone has to go through,
Right.
Yeah.
and now they're encountered by his love, and like now
Right.
you kind of know like a new
Right.
story
The
that's
trajectory is
unfolding.
changed.
Yeah, like
Yeah. And I thought it was just so wholesome too,
Yeah.
that the fact of like what they really all they really wanted to do is just sit and play cards together.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing else there. It's just they enjoy each other's company, and that's why
Right.
they should be together. You
Mhm.
know.
And then like when she's rushing there and you hear that bang.
Yeah.
Initially, you think, "Oh, suicide." And she's
Oh,
like, "How's
shit.
your knee?" He's like, "Oh,
My
"It's
knee."
okay," you know. And it's just
Yeah.
that came full circle too.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
you know, and
Yeah.
he tells her he loves her at the end, and she
Mhm.
what shut up and deal.
Right.
Or, and it's just
Oh, so
oh
good.
god,
Yeah.
what a good.
I
Just
fi-
so
like
funny.
maybe it's just me too, but I find myself like enraptured by old films
Yeah,
more
man.
Yeah.
more so like than I
Mhm.
used to.
Yep.
It's almost like hypnotic,
Yeah.
Right.
like how it just like sucks you in. It's,
Mhm.
maybe it's just how good this movie was too specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I couldn't really take myself out to write a lot of notes in this movie because I was just in it and I
Same.
just wanted
Yeah.
to live in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because I thought about that too. I was like, they have obviously like back then they have like technological limits, but they are pushing all of those limits to like the full in this. You know, like all the close-ups, all the set shots, like in
Right.
the hallway where you meet Baxter and his neighbors and the people in his apartment. In the work, like you see him in rows of all the other analysts typing away, all the offices lined up. He gets his new office. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's so perfectly cinematic.
Right.
Like,
Like you can't even, because you know how like sometimes we cheat certain aspects of the scene or whatever.
yeah.
This one, I know it's just so well detailed and
Right.
it's just
Like I almost didn't notice the editing because it was so natural.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of the time I think in modern films today, like they rely on cutting stuff up to make it fit right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Whereas this one was like all the scenes just flowed perfectly.
Let it breathe.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
was very good.
So good.
Great
Yeah.
pick.
I put it at 4.5
was-
and then I was like bumping it up to
Yeah,
5.
It's,
Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Five.
five.
so worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, 5. No question about
Yeah,
that.
5 for me is hard to reach too, man.
It is.
Yeah, I only have a few rated that as of right now, I
I think I
think.
have like 20 movies maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think mine is resting at 17.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
dang.
with this new edition, so it's hard to get that 5, but this one unquestionable.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
a
I'm very
5.
generous with my stars
Yeah.
because I'm like 5.
I tend to like rate higher than usual just because if you successfully made a movie, I'm like, well, it's a good
Right.
job.
Right.
Yeah, like
You've
Right.
accomplished something just by putting it on the
Yeah,
screen.
you
right?
got it
So,
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my medium is like around 3 stars, 3.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but you know, there's every once in a while you pick. I was skeptical when you picked this movie. I'm thinking, damn it!
Honestly,
gotta watch
I
this
was
movie.
like, why did I pick this? It's like,
Glad you
oh,
did though. God,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
good.
So worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
you
That's
are
what's great
so
about this
welcome.
movie chest is like you're gonna get these stinkers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so far I'm the only one to pick a goddamn stinker, but hey, I'll wear it.
I would honestly just, in my personal taste, I would put Twister in.
Twister
as
is
it's like-
hovering the line of stinkers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really
really?
is. Yeah.
Hey, bump it down. Make me feel better about myself.
You guys
for
bump
me,
it down.
for
bump it
my
down.
taste, it is like it's for me. It's like Under the Silver Lake and Twister. Like they're kind of
All right, stinkers it is. 2 stinkers. All right. But that's what's good about this movie chest, and that's what I like. Because okay, so I always tell Sarah that we need to watch these movies. She's like, "Why do you always say need to?" I'm like, "Because we do," and I love that we
Yeah.
need to watch these movies.
We need to
because
experience these.
It's
yeah.
making
Yeah.
me, you know, like this. The apartment made me want to just sit down and write. You know, and
Right.
Yeah.
I want to. It's good to
Yeah.
bring that creative, open that creative valves up,
Yeah,
and just
for
let it
sure.
go. You know, and
Yep.
that's what I'm enjoying about reaching out and seeing all these movies
Right.
that I've been wanting to see, but I'm
Yeah.
stuck in the
Yeah.
rewatchable
Yeah.
movies that I just watch constantly.
Mhm.
You know,
and it's definitely made me hopeful to want to watch more
Right.
older
Yeah.
films. 'Cause
Right.
It's like obviously like the art form has gotten to where it is now,
Yeah.
and like it had to be good at a certain point back
Yeah.
then. So like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I enjoy like the old films too, and I kind of want to dive into them more because it's almost like you're watching history too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause, like
Sure.
you're watching how these people lived in the '60s,
Mhm.
like,
Right.
and it's very true to life, I would assume.
Yeah.
And we never experienced that, so it's cool to
Right.
experience that through
Right.
their lens.
Yeah.
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 Bit of a time machine thing
Yeah,
going on.
Totally.
Yeah.
Definitely. But
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
what a
this
great
is
movie.
Definitely
Yeah.
like a gem
Right?
Yeah,
I think it's so
absolutely.
good. Yeah.
You did good. You did good.
You done
Thank
good,
My
kid.
biggest accomplishment this year.
I'm excited to move on though.
Yeah.
Excited
Me
to get
too.
some
Yeah.
more here.
It might be hard to top that one with our next movie.
Yeah,
test.
we'll see. It might
Honestly.
be a while till we get one that's as
Yeah.
good. You
Yeah.
know? We'll
But
see.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
if we're
stick
lucky.
around. We'll see what we pick this
Yeah.
week, and
Yep.
then
There's a lot in there.
join
Yeah.
us for the next movie chest.
Yeah, we'll see you next
Absolutely.
time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Guys.
Bye.
That's the way it crumbles, cookie-wise. Thank you for listening. After we recorded, we drew our next 4 movies from the chest. Next episode, we'll be discussing This Is Where I Leave You, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, Chinatown, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Tune in next time.